Hi, everybody. Well, I've got a question for you, and it's been kind of pondering in my mind as I've been looking for cruises to do the rest of the year and into next year, and what possible group cruises I can hold on my channel and where we should go. And that is something that struck me, that a lot of people have a very strong opinion on their favorite cruise line, but boy, they also have a very strong opinion on the cruise lines they don't want to sail on. So, like it or not, cruise lines have a reputation based on their brand. And even though, say, Carnival Corporation owns Carnival Cruise Line, they also own Princess, P&O Cruise Lines. They own Holland America. And if you notice, when I say those names, you think of a completely different type of cruise ship, a completely different type of clientele, and a completely different type of feeling on the ship altogether, which is really weird when it's owned by the same company. And that could be a good thing, right? As people say, okay, it's owned by a company that I trust, and they have different ships that are built for me. But as I have discussions with people and everything, and people often ask me, what's my favorite cruise line and that? A lot of the times, I'll say first off, what's your favorite cruise line? People will always say to me, it's Princess, right? Princess is your favorite cruise line because you sail with your groups on Princess all the time and we see you on Princess all the time. Well, yes, Princess is one of my favorite cruise lines. Is it my only great cruise line that I love traveling on? No. It just happens to be, for myself personally, one of the easiest as a travel agent to set up my groups on. There are far less complications booking a Princess group for myself because I'm a Canadian travel agent that deals with American clients than it is when I go with Royal Caribbean, when I go with MSC, etc. It's so much easier to do it on Princess than it is on somebody else. That's one of the reasons you see my groups mostly with Princess. It's just because it's simpler, it's less complicated, and it's a lot easier to do. Plus, I do love the brand, I love the entertainment, I love the food, I love the cleanliness of the ships, and I love the staff on board. I've never had anybody in my groups come out and say, you know what, the crew was rude to me, or I had this problem with the crew and they never helped me. The crew usually goes above and beyond for us, especially what it seems my groups. They just are so attentive and so helpful, and I appreciate Princess so much doing that. But does that mean I only love Princess? No, I love Royal Caribbean. I love going on certain Norwegian ships. I love going on Holland America. I've loved all kinds of cruises I love being on. I'll go on anything. I'll travel on anything. And it's not that I love only that. But people, when I talk to them, will also say that there are cruise lines they want nothing to do with. And I said, oh, did you have a bad experience on the cruise? And they'll go, well, no, we haven't been on it yet. And I go to myself, you haven't been on it yet. And you're already saying you know what it's going to be like. Trust me, folks, you don't know what it's going to be like. You really don't. Now, there are some predictions you can do. For instance, if you're down in Long Beach and you're on a long weekend and you take a 3-day cruise on Carnival, chances are you're going to have, during March break, you're going to have a lot of college students on board and they're going to be partying. Yes. Then you can expect to know what you're going to get, pretty much. But other than that, if you're just sailing on a normal, I don't know, let's take a month, let's say February of the year, and you're sailing the Caribbean. Every brand out there has their own unique personality, yes, but you don't know what it's going to be really like on those ships until you get out and experience it. You will say even the ships in their own brand. For instance, if you go on the smaller Celebrity Summit and then you go on the much larger Celebrity Beyond, there's a distinct difference between those two ships. They're both owned by the same company. They're both under the same brand. They both are hiring the same crew. but the design of the ship is completely different and the feel of the ship is completely different. So if you went on the Celebrity Summit and you said to yourself, well, this just isn't for me, or vice versa, you said this is exactly what I like, and then you go on the Celebrity Beyond and then you have the opposite feel, and then you say, well, Celebrity's not for me anymore. Well, you don't know, because the two ships are completely different. Go on an older Carnival ship like the Carnival Miracle, and then go on the Mardi Gras or the Jubilee. Completely different feels. Go on the brand new Sun Princess and go on the Island Princess. They're completely different feels in the same brand, in the same company. So when I hear people just say to themselves, yeah, I don't want to go on that cruise because I know what it's going to be, I'm not going to like it, etc. I've been pleasantly surprised. When I went on my first Holland America ship ages ago, I said to myself, oh, you know what? It's an older audience, it's an older crew. I was much younger at the time. I said, I'm not going to enjoy this. And then I discovered Music Walk and the entertainment on board. The food was fantastic. I had a great time on Holland America. But my preconceived notion was, yeah, it's too old for me, I'm not going to like it. Much like people are saying right now with Virgin Cruise Line. They're saying, oh, it's for the young people, it's for the hip, it's for a distinct type of person, personality. It's much too sexually oriented for me, or it's much too all about the TikTok and it's all about Instagram, that kind of thing. You don't know until you're on it. And I know I've watched videos and everything, and I go, I don't know if it's for me, but I'm not going to say I'm not going to get on the ship because of what somebody else thinks it's like. I'll want to experience it for myself. Now, the only reason for myself to say to you guys, I completely agree with your assessment, is when you are only going on a cruise every once in a while. You have to save up for your vacation. It's kind of like a luxury vacation. You want to go on something that you feel you know you're going to love and you know you're going to enjoy yourself. And so if you're only going on a cruise every 3 or 4 years and you look over and you say, that interests me, but I don't know if I'm going to have a good time, so I'm going to stick with my old reliable cruise line that I know and I trust. Completely understand by that. But I know cruisers who are out there 4 times a year who will avoid certain cruise lines completely based on their reputation. Based on the reputation of the cruise line only, or the preconceived notions of what it is. And that's something I think the cruise lines are battling. They're fighting with that. They don't want to be known as this, right? They don't want to be known as the party ship all the time. They want to be known as the fun ship, not the party ship. The party ship has a completely different feel than the fun ship. They want to be known as a high-class cruise line, not the stuck-up cruise line, right? Not the cruise line that snubs their nose at people and hoity-toity people, and only, certain class of people can be. Cruise lines don't want those reputations, but they have them, and they've been fighting for years now to get that reputation away from their own brands, which we don't help, because like I said, many people just look at a cruise line and said, yep, I know I'm not going to like that cruise, even though I've never been on it.